Nityanandam, thank you for tuning in yet again. I've been making some videos recently on what I feel is the importance of having a guru, and then just yesterday, I think it was, that I made a video on spiritual name, why I feel it's important in the path of sannyas. And today I wanted to share, again, from my experience, why I feel it's really valuable to a seeker to spend some time at least in an adinam, an ashram, an environment where you're surrounded by similar-minded beings that have embarked on a similar journey to what you have. So I know this topic will be forever debated. There will always be a counter argument to having a guru, that your higher self is in fact the best guru, that we don't need anything external to ourselves to teach us or guide us. Even an absolutely valid point that was raised yesterday by one of my viewers, Ian, who mentioned that having a spiritual name can actually be counterproductive, in the sense that it's, again, identification with the form, in this instance a name form, and if you're identifying with another name, another form, again, it forms some kind of attachment, it forms an identity, which I absolutely understand. I also had a similar feeling, and when my yearning for the experience of the divine was probably at its peak point, I remember it was during my inner awakening program, and I was standing in front of Nityanandeshwara Sadashiva and Nityanandeshwari Adi Shakti. So these two life-size, actually larger than life-size deities of Sadashiva and Adi Shakti. I remember constantly saying again and again and again, just let my ego burn, let this identity burn, let everything that I am right now burn, and let me rise anew from the ashes. It was like this mantra. Every time that I would be in front of these deities, I would just be, it's the one thing that I couldn't leave without saying this. So I understand the points, and I understand the argument, the whole context for what is being said. Now, again, I'm just speaking from experience, right? So I've been a sincere seeker for a very long time, and this yearning, like I said, reached a boiling point, and absolutely, like, it was too intense. I remember meditating and just being obsessed with experiencing enlightenment, right? This is when I used to think enlightenment was an experience. I didn't understand it was a happening, a beingness that's always ever present, and it's not something that's fleeting, and it's not like a lightning bolt that's going to come out of the sky and then bang, you're enlightened, right? I had some crazy ideas about enlightenment. Actually, I should make a video about that. I think that would be a rather entertaining topic of what were my ideas of enlightenment, like what did I actually think that it was. So understanding that it's a happening in the present moment, it's a space of being, it's not an event that will happen in the future, and it's not something that will happen from outside of you. When we're starting off, we have a lot of crazy ideas, like I did, about what enlightenment is and what we think will happen to us and all of this kind of stuff. Until we can make that quantum leap from the space we're in now, and until that understanding can kind of settle into us. I mean, from what I've seen, it's just a happening of grace, right? As much as I can try and will myself to enlightenment, it's not going to happen that way. So when we're starting off, I know for myself, I was looking up a lot of things on the internet, and I wanted to find out more information about enlightened masters and how did they achieve their enlightenment and what does it mean. When I was by myself, when I was kind of a hermit and I was trying to follow these, even like teachings from Buddha and Jesus and whoever was there as an inspiration, looking at their pointers, like what it is that they're pointing to, that the truth actually is, I would go around in circles, right? It was quite confusing, and for me it was at times even overwhelming. You know, there's a lot of things that were happening all at once. You know, this intense yearning, which is becoming kind of painful, and then confusion, and there's just a whole myriad of things that I was going through. Having Swamiji and his teachings to guide me, and obviously since coming here and having this beautiful environment and setting, I can see how much my cognitions have matured, and I can see how much this grace, let's call it that, this consciousness has flowered in me. It's an obvious thing, right? It's as clear as night and day. From when I first found Swamiji to how much I've developed, is that the right word? I don't know. Or how much I've expanded, how much this consciousness has expanded. I don't know what the wording is, right? It's so difficult to verbalize. This kind of sucks when you're trying to communicate what the happening is to you, to others outside of you. I don't want to confuse you all, but all right, let me try and express this in the best way that I can. From what I have experienced, even having a spiritual name, rather than clutching to an identity of what is Chidambara, it's not like I think about it or dwell upon it or whatever. Just like when we're talking about moksha or liberation, when we're in the when the mind is operating, right? When we're either in the past or the future, when the mind is oscillating, when we're not in this beingness in this present moment, a simple remembrance is enough that we are not the perishable thoughts, that we are not the perishable emotions, that we are not the perishable body. Simple remembrance is enough to bring us back to this space of beingness. In the same way, having a spiritual name, just hearing that name is enough to kind of snap you back into what it is that you really are, or what is it that you've come here for. It can be very easy, the mind can be very cunning to be stuck in it. So cunning, in fact, that no matter how much you try and guard yourself, and you know, you have these satori experiences and these understandings, these great aha moments of, wow, what it is to be walking the path of enlightenment and to be in this space of Sadashivatva, to be fully realized, right? As much as you try and hold on to these moments, which the mind loves to do, eventually you slip back into some old pattern of the mind and you're kind of stuck in this thing again. So having a guru, having a spiritual name, being in a setting like this, it doesn't have to necessarily be forever, but it's like you can call it a spiritual incubator, you know. It's just the right setting for this abiding realization to happen. Rather than having a satori experience and then waiting for another great experience to happen to you and then you'll be enlightened, this is the perfect setting for you to start understanding what enlightenment really is and how you can really start living it and radiating it. Enlightenment is not a joke, And it's not just for a few people. And this is what I feel is important in making these videos and more people talking about it, is to break this misconception that only a few can achieve it, and only a few will have it. No, if you want it, you can have it. And the way that Swamiji has designed this Ardinam, like I'm sharing with you, right? How I've experienced this maturing of my understanding, and just being in that space itself where the mind isn't operating so much, and it doesn't have so much as a sway. It doesn't have so much of a sway over me as it did. You know, the periods where I can see the mind for what it is and the emotions for what they are, rather than being them. I don't know how long that would have taken me had I been just kind of aimlessly roaming around and trying to find my way through, fumbling along and making sense of whatever teachings I was. I don't know, I can't say. But seeing how fast I've progressed, for me, I can see that yes, this is very important. And I know, again, people will argue that no, it's not. But from my sharing, if it's resonating with you, it means that you also understand that there's a truth to this. I wouldn't be sharing this with you all if I didn't feel it could truly help you. And I'm really making videos for sincere seekers, for those that know they're not just their mind, that they know they're not just a human being, that there's so much more. So I invite many of you to come here and experience this, to allow your consciousness to really blossom in the way that it should. This is a great environment. It's a fast track to get to where you want to be, which ironically enough will be, you'll see it's exactly where you started off to begin with. But we need some kind of pointers in the beginning, especially when we have ideas and we don't really know what it is we're looking for, but we have a desire and a yearning. There's certain pointers and there's a certain propelling that we need, and I've received this so beautifully from Swamiji, from the name, from this ambience, this setting. So if you're brave enough, I welcome you to dive right in. If you have any questions, I'm here as a support, and I really have the same way that Swamiji has a vision to see so many millions of enlightened beings. I can say that I want the same. So in any way that I can help you, in any way that I can make more videos that will be of use to you, not just of interest, but of use, of actual value, let's see how we can make it happen. So as always, questions, comments are more than welcome. Love interacting with you guys. Love hearing what you have to say, and love hearing what you're sharing and what your personal experiences are. So thank you, and I'll be making more videos for you all tomorrow. So Nityanandam for now.